And in today's complicated and fast-changing world, private banking is no longer just banking. It requires a very comprehensive approach that it transcends the transactional focus of traditional private banking and really starts to connect clients with their ideal combination of accessible digital banking and the personalized financial management and wealth creation partnership. And that's what my conversation is about today with Private Bank at Nedbank. Clients are clearly leading the way, and the bank is joining in and having a conversation with clients that helps them to manage their financial situations. So with me today, I've got two amazing ladies. Thank you so much for joining me. We were just talking about Nedbank, the bank itself, its philosophy, and how far it's actually come to refining what private banking actually is to clients. So Tracy, Grace, thank you so much for joining me today. Private banking isn't new, but the world has changed so much. How have you started to reshape and refine the value proposition or the value of private banking to clients? Tracy, do you want to take it first?
Sure, and thank you, Zanele. So for us, private banking and the way we're positioning private banking, it's a complete private banking experience. So we want to take care of your transactional, your lending, your investment needs. We want to partner with you on your wealth creation journey. But to translate that better for clients and how we're evolving, we've got a new campaign line called Digital When You Want It and Human When You Need It. And that's really the essence of how you can expect to deal with Nedbank. So yes, we have world-class digital channels, and really we've seen the evolution of digital over the last couple of years, but also we have this human and this known contact that you can contact depending on what you need and where you see your financial journey going.
So this human part, how is that become for you something better or even more refined? And why now? Why do you think was the need that you had to refocus it and really lift up this value to clients?
Thank you, Zanele. It's a very good question. When you look at the human element and their ability, to engage with people and connect with people, it's quite an important part of our offering. Whilst digital has evolved and is taking center stage in many, many aspects of clients' life, there's still the need to be able to connect with someone at any given point in time. But also one may say, the human element is reserved for more complex transactional needs. But there are times when a client just wants you to hear them out or support them from a family perspective, assist them with maybe transitioning into a more entrepreneurial role. So the human element plays such an important part in just connecting the client to the various aspects of finance, the ability to open the doors for clients to connect with more specialists. So I think it's such an important part. And I work with clients every day, and I work with our staff every day. And it just amazes me how appreciative our clients are when they're able to connect with a human being.
And that's because our lives have become complex.
Absolutely.
Complex because we're also making choices and decisions all the time that change our lives fundamentally. So when you can partner with the bank to help you through those transitions, I think that is absolutely amazing. But at the same time, the private banker has these tools that they use that I could use, but it still banks the private banker to really help me much more, smoothly between the different offerings. What do they bring? What does a private banker still ensure that they have, at the back to support this relationship?
Right. So Nedbank, like many other industries, is heavily investing in technology. So from a client perspective, you can go onto a money app and online banking, and that's going to just continue to evolve. And private clients equally, if they feel the need to resolve a query or take up an investment or even make an appointment with their banker, they can do that digitally. But to your point, the banker then needs to be equipped with tools using technology. So for example, in Nedbank, what we do is we use data to trigger certain interactions with clients. We make sure that the entire client portfolio is clear to the banker. The banker will capture the engagements with the client, so there's continuity in the relationship should that relationship change. So these are just some of the technology tools that we can use to equip the banker to build that relationship with the client. So the banker must invest and understand the needs of the client. And like I said, the technology can really just enhance those engagements and make them more meaningful, looking at the base as a whole and what might be applicable to the client, whether they need this or that. But ultimately, this type of client expects personalization. So even with the data trigger and even with that portfolio understanding, when that engagement happens, it really is going to be about personalizing that solution and that conversation for the unique circumstances of that client.
Mm-hmm. So you've really gotten right one of the most challenging things in business, and that's data integration, right? Being able to integrate the data to give you one picture. Because I can tell you now, I don't even have my own data in one picture. So if you have that data, what decisions or what does it make greater? What is even better that can now be offered to the client? Because one view means empowered, I'm sure. So how much more empowered would I be as a client of Nedbank, considering that you have my life's picture in one view? What do I get that's better?
So Zanele, that's a great question. So client data and data integration is critical in the kind of business we're in. So, you're not waiting for a client to tell you what they want. Sometimes you want to anticipate what a client actually needs. And I think the way the data is presented and the kind of platforms we talk about, leveraging the power of digital and data, we talk to a client relationship management platform that is intuitive and providing you with intuitive client information so that our relationship bankers can proactively reach out to our clients and offer relevant products and services that matter to them at a given point in time. So it's not just about having all of this information and data available, but it's how we use it to enrich our clients' lives. And I think the other aspect is making sure that our clients can access information, get to their day-to-day banking without being bothered, 24/7 on the go, taking our products and services. But there's also the ability for us to engage in that process. For example, our relationship bankers can complete applications on behalf of our clients digitally, which is wonderful. I can just see the look on your face, right? So it is absolutely wonderful, and they can already see what the likely outcome is going to be so that they can motivate for better rates and pricing. Now that's what clients want. They want you to intervene where necessary. Because that's not their forte, that's ours. So we use this kind of data and these platforms to support our clients.
Yeah, and there's a real flip here. There's a flip of saying, I'm looking for this, and then you say, give us this, give us this, give us that, and then I get it, and then I'm waiting for an answer. I'm getting for a yes or a no. So you're talking about intuition before decision making, and you're talking about already the content is there in terms of what you're doing. We have it already. How do we think about your application process before you even put it through? So there's a lot of intuitiveness that comes through in the space. But then it comes to some of our viewers are really into looking at investments, looking at foreign currency management or managing accounts abroad. Do you also do that leap into the much more complex world of currencies and stocks and investments?
We absolutely do. So I think most of us are thinking about putting some money offshore or putting some money in another currency, and that is digitally enabled. But when there's a need for a bank account that is actually in a different jurisdiction, that's where we have a focus account and the option to actually engage with a wealth advisor, and that wealth advisor can really help setting up that account and making sure that those transfers happen digitally and making sure the customer is comfortable. But that is really in the case where somebody wants to take a property offshore, or perhaps wants to pay for their kids' education and have an actual trading account offshore. So again, it really depends on the needs of the account. It is always a good idea to have some money in foreign currency, even if you're storing it there and you want to use it, transfer it into another vehicle like a travel card, and you can use that money, when you're traveling abroad. So you take advantage of the interest rates as they change. But yes, I think the point is, as per the client's need, the banker will assist them where they can. If it is a far more complex need or requires a different type of interaction or needs analysis, which is governed well in this country with phase, then they would need to hand the client to a wealth advisor who could then make sure that the client is aware of all the pros and cons of whatever it is, internationally or, from an investment perspective that they need to know about. So they know they're making the right trade-offs and the right decisions.
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of people feel the way that I do. The world has just gone so complex because there's a lot of regulation that governs a lot of these. But Nedbank doesn't seem to necessarily, it seems to be happy and comfortable with leading into the future, because one of the offerings you have is even around the crypto space. So you allow room for those who want to have cryptocurrency. You're working into the virtual platform space. Grace, what brings about this level of just openness to this dynamic world we're living in?
So I think the one thing that I think in Nedbank we value is our agility, our leadership, insight, the ability to see the future. And I think post the pandemic, the acceleration into this the flexibility, the agility, the ability to respond is much more heightened than it's ever been. So, and I think we have really resilient people. I mean, in South Africa, but in Nedbank definitely. So, being able to respond to these complex needs, making it simple for our clients though, to be able to reach out and muddle through, these complexities, and having that relationship banker or the digital platforms to enable that is really, really important. But I think to Tracy's point, just around some of that complexity, our relationship bankers have a network of experts that they can bring to the table, to bring to the client. So, you're holding the client's hand right through the process, and they're able to mitigate some of the risks that they currently face by, taking up global banking or taking up more complex investments to sort of maximize, the interest that they earn. So it's really, really just the culture of our business in terms of how we see ourselves get through these tough times as we see it now.
And culture is going to absolutely be the defining factor to the delivery of the strategy. But let's circle back to the campaign. What are you loving about the campaign? What do you want us to know about the campaign?
Well, we are in market with a campaign called 1,000 Connections, and it really is playing off this idea of digital when you want it and human when you need it. So we have, as part of the campaign, engaged with quite a lot of clients and asked them how has their relationship banking furthered their business. And we're just showcasing and encouraging, first of all, any affluent client to engage with us on social media platforms. There's a competition element, but ultimately what we want to evidence is this combination can really be supportive to a client. We've got a client who's running a medical practice, for example, and they're talking about how really that human engagement was absolutely critical in them getting the practice set up. And they talk about how the banker really believed in them and saw their potential and helped them navigate the decisions and the trade-offs they needed to make. And I think those are very powerful because you need someone in your corner. You need someone, especially when you're venturing into your own practice or venturing into your own business. And as we know in the affluent market in South Africa, becoming affluent is not just a function of education purely. It's a function of, perhaps business ownership or entrepreneurship or multiple pots of income or, just leveraging your own potential into different spaces. And certainly when you come to financing discussions, you want a partner that can help you navigate the bank's requirements, but also has your back, as Grace mentioned, in terms of your application and getting you the result you want. So the campaign is really about engaging out there and hearing from the market and obviously letting them know what we have to offer them, and just really encouraging them to tell us what their challenge is and maybe how Nedbank could support them through it.
And that shows great vulnerability, right? Because we know that the social space and it's not easy terrain. So what courage to just put yourself out there and say, we're willing to hear what you have to say, because you're not going to hear just the good stuff. You're also going to hear the challenging stuff. But on a point that you mentioned, that also being wealthy is about having access to the right kind of financial wealth, knowledge. And so what else, Grace, from your part, is for you interesting and insightful about the campaign and the work that you're doing?
Oh, I just love this campaign. It's called 1,000 Connections for good reason. When you engage with our clients and we discuss, what is the value of the private banker in transforming the client experience for you. And I must say the response has just been incredible and positive. Yes, we're going to pick up some, information that may not be satisfactory, but I always think you can change any type of complaint or reservation into a compliment. So it gives us this awesome opportunity to just better ourselves. But I think some of the examples that came out, and we had the client that Tracy talks about, and I read, what he had to say. And what was interesting is he set up a medical practice, and he said, in his words, my banker provides me with guidance, helping me make smart choices, that I've just grown my business, and he's been with me every step of the way. The other client that I remember out of some of the engagements we had is a client that said, when I met my banker, he looked at me not for who I am, but who I will be. And I want to be an entrepreneur. I have the confidence to do that. And by the way, he also said, private clients has got my back. So it just, when you hear that kind of feedback, it's better than any research that you can ever do. And it just solidifies and demonstrates the value of the human element in this offering called private clients.
And the intense personalization must also come from very empowered individuals in the organization? Are you really empowering people to be able to just listen and have the power to go to the back end and find solutions?
Ultimately, our bankers need to know if they hit walls, they need to come through to us. Any one of us are available. So if there's something that we can do to help that banker, but ultimately what we're trying to do through that combination is really empower them. So when they see something happening in a process that doesn't make sense for the client, we want that feedback and we want to tackle it head on. So we've got big aspirations on trying to make this proposition as good as it can be. We've got lots of challenges. We're a big organization, but we really believe that combination will help us, first of all, identify what we need to improve on. And we've got processes to constantly look for those and feedback mechanisms to constantly look for that. So that your banker feels, I am actually making a difference and somebody will support me when something doesn't make sense in the organization. So I do believe that's ultimately our intention. Yes.
And you're moving away from the bricks and mortar in this instance, right? There's no bricks and mortar necessarily required to have these relationships. So how do you mobilize it? Is it a phone call away? Is it a WhatsApp away? Is it, how do you, what tool is linking me and my private banker?
So firstly, I must say to you, Zarina, I hope the question's for me, right?
Yeah.
So so the first thing we've noticed, and it's been coming over years, is that our clients interact with their bankers more via telephone, email, video banking, and that's been going on and accelerated quite a lot. So the need for physical engagement is become reduced significantly. So it's really important to make sure, and understanding this, that we equip and enable our bankers to do that. So a couple of things come to mind. One is recently we've made sure that all our bankers have mobile devices. We've also introduced WhatsApp as making our bankers more accessible and having an additional means of communication with clients. I think the other piece that really has become quite popular amongst our clientele is their ability to make appointments via our Money app with their relationship banker, which is so important for a private client, considering most of them are professionals, they have very busy lives. So being able to choose a time and a place to see your relationship banker, which is convenient to you, is so important to them. So no longer walking to a branch and waiting for a banker to become available. So we're sort of transcending the bricks and mortar capability, and engagement is just as powerful through all these social mediums.
Mm. And funny enough, South Africa, the biggest mode of communication is WhatsApp. Mm. So to be able to do anything WhatsApp for me is like, it's life-changing. I wish I could type documents on WhatsApp. But what is the age group and what are the demographics that you're responding to? Because that's going to be quite interesting. Is it really, does wealth mean that you're dealing mainly with quite a senior, more mature age group? Do you see up and coming middle class, middle level sitting in there? What's the age group that you're finding lifting up?
Yeah, I think private banking traditionally has had a hard income criteria to get in. At Nedbank, that's different. So that would mean that you would be with more established type of clients, right? It takes somebody a while to generate an income of, let's say, 700,000, 800,000 annual income. So at Nedbank, we realized, look, if the client sees value in the proposition, let them come in. So we are the only bank that you can do that. And then, of course, we have a pipeline of young professionals that we want to fast track into the proposition, because we realize, that a young professional, which we define as someone under 30 who has a minimum 4-year degree, so 3 years plus honours, NQF 8 if that helps, we realize that person is in a small pool, and that ultimately they're going to be able to increase their income, and they need a partner to help them start their financial journey. And I mean, I'm amazed when we engage with our young professionals how hungry they are for information on how to start the wealth creation journey, some of the basics that they should be thinking about. So what we do is we discount our proposition by 50%. You're starting out, we think you should be with us, let's help you on that journey, and then when they turn 30, full pricing kicks in. And then on the other extreme,
I've missed out.
30, yeah. Yeah.
2 years away from it. Missed it out 2 years ago. Not
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, so that's really about trying to say, look, rather come into the proposition and let us grow with you. Yeah. And then equally, you're 55 plus, holding investments with us, we'll give them a 30 to 50% rebate on their banking, because we want them to stay in a proposition that has all those perks for them as they're traveling, as they're entering a different life stage. And then, of course, there are other nuances in this market that we cater for. We've mentioned medical professionals. We have a dedicated set of bankers that understand medical professionals, especially when they're going into practice. They need different types of finance for their equipment, etc. So that we cater for. We've spoken about South Africans, who might want to be abroad. We spoke about international banking. So we have many South Africans considering working abroad or immigrating. And we also have a ring-fence set of people that understand cross-border regulation and who can have the client's mandate and look after their South African interests, because you might leave a property or a pension fund or something that you need somebody locally to look after for you, and that we have in place. And then lastly, out of interest, celebrities. We've also started to explore banking, media, art, sports professionals. We understand their engagement with finance, is also something that we can supplement. So that's something we've recently started to explore as well. So we're really just trying to get into the nuances of the type of client that we're looking for, not necessarily in an income. It's about really leveraging the potential of those individuals, whether they're salaried or self-employed. That's not our concern. Our concern is more, this is what we can offer you, and if you see value in it, please come and join us. So let's partner with you.
And I would talk about people in the arts, right? Because their form of income is vastly different to an entrepreneur's. It's vastly different to a salaried individual. And as an entrepreneur myself, I found that engaging with banks very difficult, because they need a contract of employment. Then they need a contract for service. And you can see the money coming in, but because you're not seeing what you want to traditionally see as a bank, it becomes problematic. So to create those value propositions is amazing for people like artists. Grace, I don't want it to always be about my questions. What else do you really want to share that for you is important and part of this campaign?
So I think for me, it's around, how do we integrate both that digital and human element and ensure that our clients experience the best of both. And I think what Private Clients offers is the ability for our clients to have choice in how they want to engage. So, whilst we say that the human element is reserved for connection, clients can engage with their relationship bankers at any given point in time. I think the other thing is to make sure that our clients have the correct value proposition, so becoming the trusted business advisor. So sometimes, somebody would say to you, are these bankers coaches, and, do they coach their clients? And you could say yes, because they are actually like a partner, a working partner with their clients, which is great because they understand the financial hurdles that our clients are going to face. You talk to the point of the celebrities, trying to navigate the self-employed environment that might be erratic, and it's not customized for them. Our relationship bankers understand that, and they will be able to navigate those kind of hurdles for them and support them through the process. So not only will they provide the client with the access to capital, but it also provides them with valuable partnerships, valuable connections, resources, so that they can reach and achieve success in both their personal or professional lives.
It's really fascinating. A friend of mine who's a celebrity, she got ill, and because her banker had gotten her insurance, she didn't realize that she would not be able to do what she does, but because she had the right type of insurance, she was covered for up to a year of not being able to do what she does. But without that insurance, it would have been all shows were cancelled, everything was cancelled. So what you're talking about is literally life-changing. But Tracy, what's also really for me sort of something that we don't see is that banks are governed by legislation. Yes. So you say yes or no based on what you're allowed and what you're not allowed to do. But how do you get that not to be my problem? Because I don't understand and I don't know the legislation, and frankly, I really don't want to know it. Tell me what I need to do to protect myself whilst there's a technicality to that element. So how are you smoothing that over?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, because I think when we're sitting on our side of the table and we want to give the client the best experience, we cannot compromise on the legal or compliance requirements of the country. We've just seen internationally how that can go horribly wrong. But that means having a very, very good relationship with the compliance partners. All laws and compliance to some degree are interpretable. So a lot of, you can take the letter to the law, or you can say within the degree of what makes sense for the client, we can perhaps look at this slightly or interpret this slightly differently. So those robust debates go on regularly. I'm sure anybody in any industry knows, compliance needs to be a partner. It can't be, but ultimately you want to give the client the most seamless experience you can have. And I think how things have evolved, if you think about digital applications, you know, there's terms and conditions there that you click and go on. So I would encourage clients to still have a look at those terms and conditions. We will obviously make things as seamless for you to get you through the process as quickly as possible. But certainly I've seen in other industries, you know, certain boxes being ticked on my behalf, you know, like sharing information, for example. So I think it's always good as a consumer to understand what the terms and conditions you're agreeing to, and making sure that at least at a minimum you're asking the questions you need to ask from the banker. But I think all of us are trying to make that process as easy as possible in the mind of the customer, not always in the mind of the bank, while protecting the interests of the bank. I hope that clarifies.
It makes a lot of sense. Compliance definitely has moved from a no into how can we enable you?
Yes.
You know, so it was one of the great things why we are around now, to see these transitions even in compliance. Grace, one more final word from you around this new really intense offering, and intense is not the word, but sort of like this integrated offering, comprehensive but also integrated, right? Intensely customer sensitive offering. What else would you like to share with us before we wrap up?
So I think, you know, if you think about the digital experience and how that's evolved over the years, and it can be daunting, so never underestimate how digital can be daunting for some of our clients, but we've seen clients transition onto this platform quite easily. And I must say, we've got an award-winning money app, and if I look at how our clients transact on it, it's amazing because it's secure and it's easy to use. I can see that face, Amelia, but I would like to say
it's one that's like saying, I definitely want to get on it now and see what else I've missed.
Absolutely. And there's such amazing features and benefits. There's like a string of features and benefits that you can access. But I think what's important for us in trying to understand our clients enjoying it, just to give you some data points, 90% of our private clients are digitally active. In the last 7 days, over 80% of our clients have engaged either on the app with us or via online banking or via both. So it's definitely a world, you know, you can't dismiss quite easily, and you've got to constantly innovate in. And I would really encourage, you know, our clients to tell us what they love about it. And if not, you know, we look forward to actually getting that type of feedback and constantly evolving to make their lives better and easier, if anything.
And I've got it, and I've got like FOMO now, because I really want to go in and really play with all of the elements, you know, to really to not only for my own benefit, but also just to give you feedback. Yeah. Grace, Tracy, thank you so much. And thank you so much for the insights. It's been an amazing conversation with Nedbank Private Clients that is connecting clients to the best outcome, for their best outcomes. Well, Tracy Afonso is executive of Nedbank's Private Clients and Small Business Service Customer Offerings, and Grace Govender, Head of New Business Development for Nedbank's Private Clients and Small Business Services. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope that you enjoyed the conversation as much as we did. Take care until next time.